Hello viewers, and welcome to a bit of iRacing practice. One of my first goes on iRacing since getting it set up a few days ago, and still a few camera tests still to do as we continue to put all the new rig together. So a spin in the Skip Barber. Skippy is a car a lot of people enjoy that play iRacing. I, however, have always been useless at it. It's been probably a good almost 2 years since I drove it, so just seeing how it's altered in that time and getting a feel for it again, on how best to drive it, be consistent and find out how quick it can be. Now this is just a quick practice, you know, how to change gear. I'm using the throttle blip at the moment, and you'll see why. It's because I'm moving from car to car in just a moment. So just trying to find my timing for the gear shifts, seeing how quick I can blip the throttle and change gear and what the timing is. So I'm also trying different gears for different corners, different braking techniques, turning the car in early, getting it sliding, seeing how quick it get on the power. Sometimes I'm going into the corner with a little bit of throttle there just to keep some balance in the car. Lots of little techniques I'm just testing out throughout this entire video, but I want to share a little bit with you. The field of view, I've altered the field of view now to the field of view that it states in the settings, given my distance from the screens. So it's pretty much like the full width of the real car. It does take some getting used to, lining the wheels up. Not too bad on this game, it's or this sim should I say, but it's a bit more tricky on Assetto Corsa. I've not quite got my head around the width of the car yet, but it works perfectly. iRacing on triple screens is by far the best triple screen experience out there. The way it runs, the way it looks, the way it feels, just everything works perfectly for me. It works really well, feels really natural. Really good feeling under the pedal in terms of power and control. I still need to alter the brake settings slightly. Brakes locking up slightly, so I'll need to look at just altering those. But it really does depend which car you're in. I'm not going to be driving any of the cars you see in this video. I'll be back in my Mazda MX5, no doubt, for a few races. Just getting back into the swing of things. I do enjoy the competitive races that are on offer here, but you need to put some time into iRacing when you're learning it. And if you've not played iRacing before, there is an offer which you'll see in the description of this video, an exclusive Team VVV offer. And once you register, there is the Team VVV thread on the iRacing forum. Do pop in there, say hello. I'm always there to talk to. I'll be running some races with the iRacing community, as well as some exclusive videos for them on my practicing and mishaps along the way, which I'll be sharing with them as well. I'm sure some of those will make them laugh. I think they're things that we all come across when we're learning iRacing and looking at techniques, gear changes, what gear to go into corners, how quick to get on the power, how long tyres take to get up to temperature. Should be noted in fact that first section is just me getting the tyres up to temperature. We cut to a higher temperature again in the Star Mazda. My tyres will be cold on the first couple of laps as I get them up to temperature. So you'll see I'm very tentative on these early laps on these more powerful cars in particular as well. Wearing the GoPro. Unfortunately the GoPro was aimed a little bit low. That's not quite my head height, it's a little bit above my eye line. So I'm going to try and lower the GoPro a bit in future videos and alter the angle ever so slightly, just to give you guys a more natural view. But you do still see the head movement, where the head kind of looks to the corners now, very different to the single screen experience. You know, you are looking across to the line on the inside or the curbs, getting that car in and using that line where possible. There you go, leaning into that corner, getting on the power. Lovely positive camber on that corner. Then you get on the power, really satisfying. Yeah, this is tricky because you've got these curves which really knock the wheel about. Don't want to hit the tyres before getting on the power again. Obviously jumping straight from the Skippy into the Star Mazda, it's a very different car. I'm not certain, perhaps someone can help me. Here's a little question for the community. Do you use the throttle blip on this car, or do you keep foot down? Just bit of feedback on that would be handy, because it does have a very quick gearbox, no doubt about it, and some of the time here I was lifting when changing and some of the time I wasn't. And what I do sometimes is I look at the wheel spin when I'm changing, especially in corners, to see if it spins the car out. This car was pretty quick either way. Once you get out Skippy and you come into a car like this, it feels like it's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I really do enjoy driving it, has to be said. But again, like any car on iRacing, you're going to need to put some practice in, do lots of laps. You have to get pleasure from laps. There's no doubt about it. You need pleasure from the laps. I'm getting great pleasure from this, actually. It's great fun. Really nice feel. That's a tricky corner. It's a long corner. You want to get on the power as it opens out in the exit. This corner here you can go much faster than you expect, but I'm still taking it rather tentatively at the moment, getting the car in and getting on the power again when I'm comfortable the car's going to make it. But obviously with practice, wheels locking up for me there slightly. With practice I'll be taking that a lot quicker. And again here, just getting the right braking point to get it tight on the first part, and then you can throw the car into the second part and get on the power nice and early, clipping the curve ever so slightly. You can see I'm down on my ghost already. Getting on the power again, just a slight lock up. You don't want to get too deep in there either. Back end stepping out ever so slightly, then that makes me slightly tentative once it goes light. Flat out up here, it's a good feeling, really nice feeling. Again, undulation in the track, feels great through the shadows, and then getting on the brakes slightly, throwing the car in, trying to keep momentum through here, and then getting on the power again for the second part. The road rises and throws the car out slightly, that's nice. Braking early again here, getting the car in nice and early. Really nice drive out this corner when you get it just right, but it's very tricky, as you can see there. And at that time I was pushing for a bit too much speed. I think the final corner is the one I'm probably finding the most tricky at the moment, because I want to keep the speed in the car but get the front end in. If you don't get the front end in where you want it, then you're going to be going wide, as you saw just then. But that's what this is all about on iRacing. It's about, you know, this test mode that you see here. This is where you can learn how to drive the cars. You can throw the car off the course 100 times. It's no problem, doesn't affect your iRating, and you'll be able to work your way up. Of course, Neil's working hard and working his way up at the moment, and you'll be seeing that in his videos as well. Episode 1 is on the channel. Episode 2 will be up later this week, with another 3 videos from Neil coming up next week as well. So a busy week from him in terms of iRacing content. Again, using different techniques. I'm trying different gears into corners, different shifting styles, everything else. Just looking at where I can find some lap time. These laps always tend to be quite scrappy, because you're piecing together different cornering styles, and then once you've found a style that works on every corner, then you piece all that together into one lap. And then once you've got that together and you've got better pace, then you start to really work on consistency, and then that's when you really start to push the envelope a little bit more with the techniques you have, and new things will make themselves known. Car going just a bit wide than I'd like there. You can hear the tyres going. I lifted off the power completely, but it was too late to save it that time. So that final corner done me again, but never mind. We go around and we do more laps, and this is what iRacing's all about. This is no chore. This is great fun. I really enjoy this, and it gives me a chance to find more speed and really understand the car. Not doing me any good in terms of tyre temperature. Of course, I did a few more laps of that and then moved on to the Indycar, which I've been dying to get into anyway. That's always an objective for me, is to get into the Indycar and the F1 car. Wasn't much time left available for me filming at this time, so again, the field of view seems slightly different, doesn't it, with the big steering wheel there? But it still feels quite natural when you're in there, and this is the setting on iRacing. So as you can see from the cam, it's a little bit low, but you get a rough idea. I'm very tentative on this lap. This is because I've got no heat in my tyres, and I'm going to slowly build as I go around and get a feeling what gear to take everything in. So again, you'll see more mucking about. Now, this car has some issues with sliding when it's high in the rev range, so you're going to see me short shifting quite a bit initially. getting into the next corner to stop wheel spin. It's quite tricky initially, but I am enjoying it. This course doesn't really let the IndyCar open up. It needs a slightly straighter coursing. Same can be said for the Formula 1 car. It's a very technical course, but that's what I want in terms of practice, because it helps me get a real understanding for these cars. And my next video will be on a much more open course when I test these cars out. These are the cars I enjoy. These are the ones you're going to see me driving more of later in videos. Really nice feeling. The audio you're hearing is of the audio of my sound system in the room. So, whoa, on the power quickly, and you can see there the wheels just got away from me on that section. Now, I've taken this before. I've driven all this before. Long time ago now, and I've gone much quicker than this. This isn't going flat out, this is just a nice opening practice for building the speed, and a really great feeling you get from iRacing in some of these cars. I really enjoy it, and that audio as well sounds fantastic. See the car start to get away from me. That was just changing gear, getting wheel spin in third gear. And again, bags of power. Every time you see that, I'm backing out the power. A couple of times here I'm trying techniques where I'm going full on the power and changing short shifting, or I'm about 75%, 80% on the power, but going through the gears in a slightly more controlled manner because there's more balance to the car. So there's little techniques. I'm just trying to see what works quicker for me and what's more comfortable for me and what I can work consistently with. And of course then I'll talk to the iRacing community about what works best for them as well. So a little bit more in the IndyCar. And again, this is just practice. This is not a case of putting in well-beaten lap times. It's just to get a feel for the car and what works consistently on it. And then in a few days I'll get onto the Mazda and I'll start putting laps into whatever track the series is running and prepare myself for the series. And that's when I'll be doing lots and lots of timed laps and making sure I'm not after world-beating pace. I just want to be average competitive is all I'm looking for at the moment. Again, that great feeling of speed this car gives you, the grunt from the engine. And now of course after that I was moving to the F1 car. Very limited time for the F1 car unfortunately, but it's something, never fear, I will look into later. And again, very tentative out the pits there. You can see just I want to get heat in the tyres in this first couple of laps before throwing the car into corners. And immediately here from the IndyCar you have no wheel spin, you have much more commitment to the corners, much more grip. You can take that in sixth gear, that corner, pretty much slight lift, but it flies around the corner, and get on the power really early here as well, so it's throwing you out on the exit. I think I get this completely wrong. I turned in too early. The car was responding more than I expected that time, so I had to correct myself, and that sent me a bit wide. You can see how fast it is through the straight sections. You're barely getting through the gears in this course. Again, still getting a bit of wheel spin. Remembering all the settings are off here, so this is all singing, all dancing, and a mistake was made there. So you can see I got on the power, and now I'm going to restart and move to the, try that again now. This is what you do in iRacing. Now I considered doing videos where I just cut and just did some driving, or just stuck with one car and just worked with that until I was perfect at it, but I wanted to show you just this opening practice, because it shows where you make mistakes. I have something caught in my throat now. So I'm taking my time. See, I've already learned I can carry more speed through these corners, how much quicker I'm going to be. Trying a different gear there, wasn't really working for me as much, but nevertheless, out the corner okay. Really throwing it at the curbs then. Always tricky on the power, obviously still cold tyres, cooler tyres. Nice to get some speed in the car as you go through this section. I love going through here. Reminds me a little bit of the latter half of Road America. That's out into the trees. Great bridge section. To that final corner. Such a sweeping final corner. It really is nice when you get it right and you get that line just right. Go around for another lap in the F1 car. Again, moving from car to car like I did in this video is quite tricky. It's much more difficult than other games where you can just jump from car to car to car, but that's why I kept some consistency, at least in the open wheel, so I had a rough idea of how they're going to handle. So certainly lots of practice required with each one, but I wanted to share this video with you, share a little practice session on iRacing. There'll be lots more iRacing content to come from me. Especially now we're doing a lot more in the way of PC gaming now. The format for me that really interests me in terms of the racing, in terms of the action that's going on in the world of gaming. And I'm going to be sharing all of those learning experiences with you as I become less of a noob at the world of PC gaming. Oh, got that completely wrong that time. So, tricky corners, you want to get these right. Every time you're going a bit quicker, you're going too hot, you compromise your entry, and then you blow the whole section. Realising I can get on the power nice and early there now. Always more power to be, more speed to be found in these corners. But that's it for this iRacing video. We come around these last few corners. Hope you've enjoyed this first little introduction from me, just in terms of practice. There'll be a lot more intro in terms of the actual structure of iRacing itself in a future video. But as ever, there'll be more from me very soon.